coming from the Truspace. We ain't answer type of neighbors, I don't give a fuck what you say. Found the universal coochie, planting seeds and birds fruit. Now I'm really looking juicy. Welcome to the true space. Yeah, bitch, welcome to the true space. Welcome to the true space. Yeah, bitch, welcome to the true space.
What's good, y'all? My name is Open Book. This is my partner.
Hey guys, welcome back to Truspace. This is Harris.
And let's break down this full moon energy in Aries. How do you think this energy is going to hit us?
So this full moon is gonna be about us fully reacting to the individual, the self that we needed to develop so far, since we had Jupiter and Carrion in Aries emphasizing that area to enhance the way we see ourselves, because it is not only that first house deals with the early personality, early development. So when you have the full moon in Aries, when we have the full moon in Aries, there, it's gonna emphasize that early part of development. And then while we have the sun in Libra with Venus there, having us focus on developing our social skills, our social life. Like, think about Libra is customer service and things of that nature. So the new moon, when you had the new moon in Libra, that's what you initiate, a new way of using customer service, so you could deliver this form of individuality, this form of personality, which might separate you, since you have to learn how to utilize it properly. This is why we went through the cycle through Aries, and then Taurus, and then Gemini, and then Cancer, which the peace dealer calls it developing your superpowers. But a simple way of thinking about it, these are your organs. The Aries deal with your brain and nervous system. If you don't have a good ability to initiate a vision, then someone will push you away. Someone will give you a vision, right? And then if you have a good Taurus, you have a good ability to stabilize yourself internally, then you won't have good hormones, good unification. If you can maintain yourself internally, that's a real superpower. Because a lot of people can't even do that. Like, especially the Uranus and Taurus, you could see that. Gemini, your ability to put words together and communicate, lungs mechanics. And then Cancer, your ability to fight off pathogen and react immediately to what's happening on an emotional level. And then Leo, the heart, the circulatory system, your ability to move all these things together and then put them in the center, and then prepare yourself to go to the digestive system, which is Virgo. And we dealt with breaking things down, optimizing, analyzing, re-editing everything that began in Aries, since it might gonna take a lot of time. But Virgo is ruled by Mercury, so it gave us the time to think about it from a mental point of view and analyze it and learn how to perfect it against the opposition with Neptune and Pisces, realizing and being more aware of what truly is our dreams and or what could be delusional. And right now we're gonna experience the full moon in Aries, and that's basically bringing this whole thing together.
Yeah, exactly. Everything leading up to this point, for sure. And then what is that? That's your kidneys and excretory system,
Mm-hmm.
dealing with your nervous system, is it?
Yeah, so
Or your brain?
basically Aries to Taurus, that's the upper part of your hemisphere, and then Libra to Pisces, that's from your hips to your feet.
Lower.
Against, yeah, essentially. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, so your head and then your hips. But yeah, that's. I was thinking of. Nah, but it doesn't work though. But really, that bending forward aspect, I get that on lowering your head. It's kind of what it feels like. Like, say, especially with coming with this full moon, if you haven't been planting the right seeds in the new moon season, like back then, 2 weeks ago, to start coming into better fruits from your relationships, where when the full moon in Aries goes, and there's this need and desire to, have more of a raw emotional response, just without a filter, without trying to make things sound nice, just having a raw emotional response. You're really gonna start to see how much, bending over you're gonna have to be doing. Because if you planted the right seeds for your relationships, I can so see you having this raw response to things, and your relationships understand one, if you were honest with the energy that you were mixing and putting together with the other person, then it's going to blend way more. And then when a rough patch does come, it's not energy that they're not aware of, you know. It's not energy that is out there. As long as you were honest and created the relationship on a 50-50 base to maintain your individual aspect, you know, to honor your own individual feelings. And if you made the right friends and the right relationships, an honest expression, even if it is a little blunt, you know, maybe you don't need the bluntness or the harshness, but they'll see the honesty and the gem through the Aries aggression, anger, if you get what I mean. Where, just like, and that's why the brain represents Aries, I guess, right? Because Aries is like that, kind of like the signals that is going through your nervous system, where it's like sudden impulses, like immediate reactions to things. Your first immediate reactions, kind of like your
it also rules like your fight
reflection,
the fight aspect of your nervous system, while Libra is the flight, running away,
your reflexes. And while Libra's the flight, that's funny. And then it's also separating aspects in your body to get rid of, you know, to get rid of with the kidneys, right? So that's interesting, because there's a internal aspect, and then preparing things to go external aspect that is going, that you see the contrast in, you know, like an immediate reaction. So I associate with playing out in the medical physically, or out in the real world like that. But yeah, with, if you haven't been planting the right seeds in terms of relationships coming this Libra season, especially with Venus trailing the sun right there, it's very easy to that bending over aspect where you have to bow to someone else, so you have to bow to your relationships. Pluto and Capricorn too, really making it intense on your responsibilities and your social status and all of these aspects. So I so see it being so easy for to just play nice, if you get what I mean, to just hide certain emotions in order to have more balance, or to be seen as more balanced, to be seen as more presentable, to be seen as more likable, more of value. You know, you don't want a person who's disturbing the peace, you know what I mean? Or, you know, according to regular society, or how a lot of social situations work, the one who's wrecking the peace, albeit maybe expressing truth or expressing their individuality, is making things run less smoothly than what it would have. Even if the niggas are all just flunked out, heading off of a cliff, you're gonna make the ride to the cliff all the more challenging. You're gonna be like, why are we going to a cliff? They're like, we told you it was a suicide pact and blah blah blah. But I'm just playing. But that's what it is, where everybody's just going on, and sometimes it's just easier to just play nice and to just get into that mirroring aspect, and to just give off what you're being given, instead of taking the initiative aspect to start directing the relationship to make it more proficient, or to make it have reason and purpose towards it.
That Venus conjunction with the sun in Libra can be utilized in a very negative way, since you could use illusions when it comes to your relationship, so you could look more presentable. But like as CJ is saying, having the ability just to utilize Jupiter, bringing your own experiences from developing your own self, and not allowing that bending over action that's coming up from your relationship, because that's going to be bad as we head into Scorpio season, where you get backstabbed by all these things you started in Libra seasons, and it's going to be extremely hard for you to get rid of it, and things of that nature, since we know once you started in relationships, some people, it's very hard for them to let go of relationships, people who they meet on their regular day basis, or things of that nature. But that's why you have Jupiter.
Absolutely.
That's why you have Jupiter in Aries, so you don't neglect yourself. And you have Chiron in Aries too, to remind you about how hurt or vulnerable you are when it comes to expressing yourself. And like that Libra season is really an emphasis to show you where you weak are when it comes to self-expression.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then Jupiter kind of gives you that spiritual militant type energy where you're kind of more aggressive with your spirituality, and spirituality and individuality is almost the same thing, or it's intricately linked. But with that heavy emphasis on with that Jupiter energy in Aries, if it goes negative, it can be so, like a spiritual militant in the bad way, where you're really aggressive with your spirituality, and you're kind of fighting everybody um, off with that aspect, instead of more of a, maybe not even a defensive approach. Maybe that would be more so if it was Mars there. I would say if it's more so, I'm imagining or having the picture of like using like a scythe to like cut down grass to like open up an area for you to like build or to plant or to make use of.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you're paving a way, a future with your spirituality, with your individuality, so that you can go and express certain things. It's like you're setting the stage for an experience to happen in a spiritual way. It's like you're going down that spiritual route. Like the first synchronicities start to come up, or now maybe not your first, but more continual synchronicities are starting to come up and stuff like that. But it can so lead into, and especially with this full moon coming to exacerbate it, especially if your relationships are suffering, or squeezing in your internal expression. When the moon gets here and the moon meets Jupiter, is trying to expand into this area that you're supposed to be creating. If it's not, well developed, you haven't cut much grass, there's not much room to go and expand, because your relationships keep on forcing you to contract or give your energy somewhere else. You're giving 60-40 in this relationship, so when you come back, you're always 10% less that you can go and put into your own thing. So you're not always that far into your own individual endeavors, and having meaning and understanding of your own desires, so that when you have those raw expressions, or when you just express yourself, maybe now you're blunt, or maybe now you're destructive, maybe now you just want to you want to cry, or break something, because you didn't attach enough meaning and reasoning, and have enough self-understanding of your own internal emotions. And the more you give your energy to your relationships, while remember Jupiter is a generational planet, so right now there's all these influences on relationships, just like what you're saying, it can play out so negative with the Sun and Venus going on, just adding to that sensuality, just adding to the desire for pleasantness, your eyes looking for pleasantness and value. There's a great what Plato talks about how why Socrates didn't like democracy, and he talked about how they would have two people up. You would have one is the candy salesman and one's the surgeon. And the candy salesman, is telling you about all the sweets he has and how much you'll love it and how pleasurable it's going to be. And the surgeon's talking about how he's going to hurt you and, perform surgery, and it's going to hurt, but it's going to alleviate the pain. Nobody's going to vote for the surgeon. Everybody votes for the candy salesman type deal. So it's like, even though going on this solo journey may seem scary, or you really need to put a lot of faith into yourself, and that being scary, but that's so much easier than, maybe I should just go and take the easy way out, or this person's telling me to do this, or things will work more harmonious if I do this. You're trying to take the easy way out. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like in terms of like a war, think of Jupiter in Aries, like Knight Templars, Muslims going to war. Sun, Venus conjunction in Libra, think about like British colonizing indigenous societies.
Yo, that's jokes. That works out so well. That's funny. But that's facts. That's facts. So even when, because the moon is coming here, there may be real impulsive emotions and reactions that come up. But really check them. Even if you do start acting wild now and you activate a full moon moment because if you're not enough balance between your individual emotions, your relationships, even if you're clearly the one that's flunked out, really pay attention to what's flunked out. If those around you really get flunked out, really pay attention because Jupiter's there too.
Hmm.
So there may be some real meaning behind that, some real spiritual benefit that you can extract from those experiences to have wisdom to maybe not get into those situations, learn from others or learn from your own experience of how you can restructure your relationships and go about relationships and initiate relationships in the first place to avoid, you know, your individual emotions becoming put to the side.
Exactly, exactly.
And yeah, let's go through the houses with this full moon. If you have this full moon Aries in your first house, how do you think this is gonna hit these people?
So you're gonna be emotionally reacting about the self, essentially about all your personality, personal issues, your early development, because obviously because you obviously had the sun and Virgo going through your sixth house, so that tells me you've been working on your health, your stat, your skills and things of that nature before the sun into Libra in your seventh house. So that let me know if you did not plant the right seeds when it comes to the new moon in Libra when it was in your seventh house, whether you had bad relationship, good relationship, that's gonna lead to whether you learn or you do not learn how these relationships could benefit you or not, because this is gonna expand your it's gonna expand your emotional experience about them.
Absolutely, absolutely. Really, it's like a personal attack if you haven't been planting good seeds in your relationship aspect. It may feel like a real personal attack and really may affect your personal interests. Maybe even with the first house, maybe your clothes, or however it may manifest on whatever you really call and dignify at yourself. Something that everybody knows you do this on Thursdays. Why is this person hitting you up on a Thursday? Asking you to go and do whatsoever. But it's because of the lack of the planting seeds, and how you initiate your own relationships and allowing all of that stuff to come and hit you is what would be causing more of a negative aspect to come out of this full moon. And if not, you're going to start to see how your relationships fall in line with the individual expression where I used to have to slap this nigga upside the head, or I used to always have to tell people to leave me alone at a specific time or to give me this space. But now, because I initiated relationships in the right way and started, balancing everything in a healthy aspect and a healthy expression, now they start to understand, okay, yeah, he has this rhythm and it's all good. They don't feel like less than accommodating for you. And that's the first house. Looking at the second house, how do you think this is hitting them?
So you guys gonna be reacting either with emotional anger outburst or either I guess gonna be emotionally passionate about the relationships that you guys developed so far and how they're gonna benefit your money, your position, your earning ability, or how they're gonna take away from it. So it depends which side you're gonna be on. But remember, you guys gonna have Jupiter and Carrion in your eighth house. So as you guys try to expand, learn about yourself when it comes to the area of vulnerabilities behind the scene. You guys do not want nobody be uh, taking your money and things of that nature, because that's what's gonna put you in emotional issues, especially relationships, money, and how these things interact together.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. Really shining a light on your self worth and how your vulnerabilities, especially with what's it called? Yeah, the moon being here really ties into, and then what, the sun being in your eighth house, where your relationships really dive into your um, deeper aspects, your vulnerable aspects, where the conversation is being started on that level. If you've been planting the wrong seeds, it could really take a dip at your self worth and how you view and value yourself. So there's for you, there's a real openness to letting out these vulnerabilities and cleansing them, not being so stuck in and holding on to your emotions so that they don't really so that you can see the reality that's on the surface, you know what I mean? So you can stay in touch with physicality and what's real and what's tangible. But yeah, you can be going real crazy with your resources. Really lead to a full moon moment where you might sacrifice something that you have, or overspend something that you have, or overuse use too aggressively something that you have, and dive too deep into your resources that you didn't want to dive into because of mismanagement of your relationships. And what about the third house?
Mm-hmm.
Having this full moon in Aries in the third
Mm-hmm.
house.
So you guys are gonna be emotionally reactive. What's going on with your immediate surroundings, your siblings, your co-workers, your neighborhood, your thoughts, early education. So depending on what you guys have been working on, since you guys are having the sun in Sagittarius, you guys are obviously trying to create relation and harmony within the way you guys maybe see God, understand religion, spirituality, and things of that nature. So you guys could use that higher understanding and bring it down here when it comes to experiencing the full moon right now in Aries within your third house, making you very either passionate or angry, which is good because it's gonna make you aware of what's affecting you within your immediate surrounding. This is what you're having with the third house, and that's gonna allow you to understand what the sun starts to project to you when it comes to Libra in the ninth house. Then you just gonna allow you to develop more understandings because you're trying to see the moon deals with behind the scene, and now you're dipping back to see how the soul feels about what you the sun been doing in Libra when it comes to initiating that relationship, when it comes to understanding your spirituality or letting people know about how you view things when it comes to religions and things of that nature. But definitely expect a lot of movement within communication, your mind, and you within your surroundings. So it's not gonna be so far from you. So try to relax a little bit because the third house it's so within your immediate surrounding you may not realize when an accident happened. It's how people get into accidents.
Absolutely, especially with the full moon being in Aries, things can happen so quick, and because a lot of the emotional focus is going to be around you, your surroundings are going to be such a volatile thing. So this is why you have to have, a little bit more awareness of what's going on in your surroundings, so you can use this energy in a beneficial way and start repairing the relationships that are here. Maybe with the sun and Libra and Venus in the ninth house, maybe you're looking a little bit too broad, to a little bit outside, a little bit too much into the future with the full moon, and that may be taking you away from with the sun in Libra, I mean, and that may be taking you away or amplifying the the high speed reaction impulse that's may go on within your surroundings, and it may even just be a mentality, but you didn't realize how quick that mentality could take off and cause certain things to happen. So definitely don't let your relationships take you too far away from home and let you too far away from outside your surroundings, too much into looking at different places, entertaining different ideas. Even though that's all the good aspect that you want to dive into, it could create a more volatile full moon moment because you personally um, are very reactive to your surroundings. So while your relationships may get you looking at broad and it's all dandy on that big picture, you may really be neglecting surrounding things that are affecting your emotions, and that could potentially be used in a more beneficial way in your life.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
and that's the third house. How do you think the full moon's gonna hit the fourth house?
So the moon back home, but we're gonna have the full moon in Aries here, and Aries hates being here because Aries deal with the self, develop, initiating their own visions and passions, and for them to deal with home, they in person always separate from home. Like you'd be surprised if you have an Aries within your life and things of that nature because they wanna have all their times for themselves. But while you're having the full moon in Aries in your fourth house, this might be you experiencing a lot of outbursts or you trying to take emotional control when it comes to your home, family, domestic issues. But you gotta understand that there's separation between your first house and then your fourth house. You gotta leave certain personal issues aside to deal with family issues and home issues because a lot of your family issues started before your time even existed, which gave birth to your first house, your personal issues. But this might be the time for you to come aware or even passionate about understanding these things because you have the sun going on through your 10th house, so you can see how your personal issues at home could lead to fucked up work life status, business, and how you be treated by the world, and people in your relation might be telling you this and that, so you have to become more aware of that thing going on with your family life because the sun in Libra with Venus might bring the help but also might bring the delusion. But the full moon is gonna make you react in like almost like a aggressive archangel Michael type of energy to deal with these things on site.
Mm-hmm. For sure. And this Libra season may cause you, because Libra would be in the 10th house, may cause you to be looking at your reputation too much, be making you look at, how you appear, especially with Libra in the 10th house, how you appear on a large scale and making things look nice and presentable, so that people might want to talk to you or to be sociable or to look professional, look like you're able to perform the task and to do the work, but be neglecting on the home aspect and getting those relationships together and that environment together is what would make that true, where you don't have to focus on sustaining that because that is what it is. But that's what you were saying, like these areas kind of contrast because once you and it may be forcing you with the sun in the 10th house type thing, maybe approaching much more of a dry approach. Maybe you're looking at relationships on how you can use them or how you can somehow get practicality in your life based off of these mentalities without even having, and it may dry out your fourth house, your home, and you're not add enough emotional aspects to that for it to be nurturing, and then Aries being there, the moon going there, and there's not enough water, it's a little bit too hot in there, it's creating all of this friction. Now you're not feeling comfortable at home, now home's all frustrated, now home's not peaceful, now in home you're way more individualistic at home, because you're thinking about how things look up on this top aspect. You're not really putting yourself in that personal in the seat, trying to fix things, being patient. So this full moon could really try and mess up your family relationships in hopes because you want things to be like this, or you want this type of structure, you want people to think of you like this. Try not to get into those type of energies because there's going to be huge influence with this full moon going on this area and the moon not liking the fourth house. And yeah, that's the fourth house. Looking at the 5th house. How do you think the full moon's gonna hit here?
So you guys gonna be emotional, reacting your passions, creativity, self-expression. But with the Aries energy, you guys might add the spark, that passion, or be aggressive on these things depending on what you guys been doing on your relationship, going on with the groups, the friends, the associates that you guys been creating harmony with. But that's gonna highly depends on which side you guys on. Are these good associates that you could create harmony with, so you could bring in your creativity that you've been building on Jupiter in Aries, and Chiron is there too, so you're very sensitive about it. But this full moon is gonna allow you to either fully be passionate about it and ready to bring it to your relationship, or know what to emotionally not to express when it comes to your creativity and self-expression, so you know how to deal with your associates since you have the sun in Libra. They're allowing you to develop more harmony.
And maybe even with the new moon, if you didn't plant the right seeds in the new moon, maybe you planted too much self-sacrificing agreeableness seeds in your 11th house, with Libra being there. Maybe um, making you to make everything run more smoothly, or maybe because it seemed more logical, and with all of the air that's going on, it's so quick. Oh, an idea. Oh, I said this. Oh wait, we're in a whole new different dimension now. We're in a whole bunch of things got built up, or I'm in a whole different type of esoteric contract. That's what happens with air signs or air trines, or when air gets together, whole things, bunch of things get thought of, and then all of a sudden there's a whole esoteric or mental creation that you kind of have to deal with. But if you've been planting a lot of seeds there, you may not have bad seeds there. Now with the moon going here, you may not have a creative outlet, or it's so frustrating when you try to express yourself in a creative way that you can't have fun with it. You may start appearing to be a little bit more domineering, or too self-centered or self-centric with the full moon, when the whole focus is being on agreeable, and what's the most logical for everybody in the in the grander scale of things, on the world level. So you may feel a real restlessness in that creative expression. You expressing things based off of how you feel. It's maybe there's a filter that's going on because of the people that you had associated yourself with. So if you find yourself in this situation, you want to really go and check back and balance those associations. And maybe you have to question the type of social circle or social life that you're leading for yourself, if it is taking away the passion and the desire to creatively express yourself and make you sacrifice yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And what do you think about the full moon happening in the sixth house?
So you guys are emotionally reacting to initiating your own vision and imagination, but it's a full moon, so it's gonna be quite impulsive or aggressive, which could be negative or positive depending on how you're gonna use it. So you guys are gonna use that emotional energy to go towards your service, your health, your work. How can you guys be more passionate or learn how to be separate these things from, since you guys having the sun and Libra going through your 12th house, so obviously you guys been building relationships surrounding what you guys truly believe in terms of spirituality, your subconscious, like relationships that match what happens in terms of your subconscious mind and things of that nature. So when it comes to you reacting to your work and things of that nature, you're not aggressive. You know that your relationship that you build up so far, they're not gonna prevent you from moving further in your work pattern. That's gonna get you to your dreams. And your dreams right now, the sun is there, so it's allowing you to develop relationships there. But it's important for you to fully react to these things with your sixth house, so you don't allow your relationship to move what you believe in or put any form of illusion there.
Absolutely. With having the full moon here, well, you had the new moon in your 12th house, so a lot of seeds were getting planted, and if you weren't planting healthy seeds, man, there's such an opportunity for your relationships to rock you to sleep, and for your relationships to slip into the subconscious realm and really influence you on that field, where you're not even realizing that your relationships are influencing you to have the certain beliefs that you have. Maybe even limiting beliefs now, because you're mirroring off of people and they think that they can't do certain things. So, you're doing, so you automatically fall into that certain line. And that being what leads to fucking up your daily schedule, or you putting enough you time in your daily schedule. And when you don't have enough you time, how can you get passionate about it? How can you get passionate about perfecting something, or really working on something, and you may not be fully aware of? So there's a reminder of the seeds that you had planted was in the 12th house, and that you really want to understand, initiate relationships that are going to help you clean your subconscious mind, start the conversation about things that you're not too sure of. Which may be a little bit too hard, not too harmonious, because the 12th house, it may not be words or logical and linear like that, but try and communicate it anyway. And I guarantee it's like, say somebody is trying to interrupt your daily routine, and you give them an explanation that doesn't really make sense, but it's just how you feel, and you try. Maybe they don't fully understand, but they still give you that respect, and give you that space to go and set your daily routines on how it is. Just try and start the conversation so that opportunity can happen and your relationships can fall in line, and then you can have more individuality in your day-to-day processes.
Definitely.
What about the seventh house? How do you think this full moon will hit people having it in the seventh house?
So you guys gonna be emotionally reacting either passionate or aggressive when it comes to your relationship, partnership, open enemies, all these things that you guys been initiating since you guys had the new moon in Libra in the first house. You guys have been trying to develop relationships and harmony surrounding your personal issues, your early development, and things of that nature. But right now, we don't want to experience an emotional outburst when it comes to our relationships. So that's what you guys gotta experience. So you guys gonna have to fight against that and not allow it to uh, bring more people to your first house, which might make things difficult to what's going on in your seventh house. And the seventh house doesn't like to be in the seven. The moon does not like to be in the seventh house. It finds it uncomfortable to deal with these things, and then it's in the Aries, so you gotta deal with my feelings, and then the self in the area of relationship. Man, that's too much, yo.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And like with alignments like that, like I bet you often, especially with the full moon happening in your seventh house, I bet you can have a full moon moment where it seems like you're selfish in your relationships, where you're the one who's taking 60, 40 in the relationships, or just being the unagreeable one in the relationship, the one that's making it a little bit too hard. Maybe you have certain expectations or desires or whatever it is that you uphold in a relationship, connecting back to the seeds that was planted on the new moon, where you're really supposed to initiate relationships and try to balance things based off of your personality, based off of things. But maybe you weren't as initiative about that, or you let certain things else happen, or you try to make things work more smoothly, or try to avoid the conversation, or and not run away from the confrontation, or whatever it is. Maybe you don't believe in yourself. Maybe you think you get too aggressive. But even if it is aggressive, um, you have to get it out somehow, your individuality has to get expressed. Otherwise, you lead into full moon moments where you seem selfish, or where you have to get into your selfish bag within your relationships, because you didn't set the right precedents before, and they're not that familiar with your personality and how your personal desires, that they allow themselves to get in the way, that you allow them to get into that way. So you really have to be more vocal about your individuality so you can avoid situations like this happening. And that's the seventh house. Looking at the eighth house, how do you think this is hitting them?
So the moon's gonna be debilitated here. So you're gonna be emotionally reacting, initiating new visions and imagination, even though it's gonna be extremely hard. Within the darkness of your eighth house, your vulnerabilities, the house deal with death, secrets, sex, metaphysics, mysticism, and things of that nature. But you guys been dealing with initiating relationship and harm and creating harmonies that could fit the area of money, position, your earning ability. Since right now you guys have the moon in the eighth house, so that might result in extreme emotional outbursts depending on how your relationships is affecting your money and your possession. We know moon in Scorpio, there's like deep power and control issues because Pluto is there, so that might make you very emotionally volatile to express things in outburst moments when it comes to touching your money or assets. So definitely watch out for these things and realize maybe these relationships are helping you to learn about yourself more, since the sun in Libra is allowing you to develop harmony there and things of that nature. So yeah, it might even show you how selfish you are too, because we're dealing with Taurus materialism, and then we're dealing with Scorpio. Like I would say that's like emotional materialism.
Absolutely. And don't let anybody tell you, like with second house or with Taurus energy, that it's or call it materialistic like it's a bad thing.
Yeah.
Tauruses keep us, hold us down. Tauruses keep us grounded to the earth. So you initiating relationships, having the Libra in your second house, initiating relationships based off of stability, based off of loyalty, based off of value, and trying to balance it on that area is very, very healthy instead of consuming or based off of how things appear to be, but based off of real stability. When you have relationships like that and people are loyal and based off of stability and stuff like that, with full moon happen, you can be vulnerable, but you have relationships in line that will be there to support you. Maybe you can make irrational spends if you planted a little bit bad seeds, or get lose out, or get taken advantage of with the full moon going on in your eighth house, and have something get taken out or exposed that you didn't want to get exposed, but you have help and support on practical, real help and support. When there's a lack of emotional stability, they can help bring you back into your body and show you the real value that's in the world. So that's the good thing about having friends around this practical premise, so that you feel supported in that way, for sure. And that's the full moon happening in the eighth house. How do you think this is going on for people in the ninth house
So you guys,
who have the full moon going on in the ninth
you
house?
guys gonna be emotionally reacting either in a passionate or aggressive way to your higher understanding about God, spirituality, maybe even emotion. You guys might want to travel and things of that nature. Since you guys start to initiate new form of harmony, relationships, when it comes to your third house, your immediate surroundings, your co-workers. So you might have met people, initiate a type of relationship, whether it's good or bad. All these led to some form of education, a higher understanding, a broad understanding of things. So now you could look down on your immediate surroundings and attack what's might not fit you properly, since we know we're heading to Scorpio season and you're gonna be experiencing Scorpio season in your fourth house. So you don't want to bring in any form of like lack of understanding, since the ninth house and the fourth house, they share the Jupiter aspect to it, so they're very connected. Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm. For sure. Having Libra in the third house sounds like really good relationships and balance with your immediate surroundings, and maybe good relationships, and this is where you've been planting the seeds, getting good relationships with your brothers, sisters, with your neighbors, with people that is around you. Just having your surroundings in a more balanced type aspect, more of a friendly type aspect, probably allows you as an individual to explore your higher mind, or to explore the deeper spiritual aspects of your emotions and stuff like that, to spiritually travel um, to deeper places, because your surroundings are more agreeable and you initiated friendships that help facilitate certain mentalities and surroundings that don't block your individuality from seeing things at different perspectives, or for you to have a desire to reach a higher level of understanding of things. Whereas if you planted bad seeds, your relationships can really keep you stuck in your surroundings, and just looking at there where they don't support you, and they kind of get you lost in the devil in the details. So when your heart desires for something more, for more meaning, all you can see is details, details, details. You can't see meaning. That's how the full moon might hit you negatively, but you're supposed to use them for more familiarity and balance in your surroundings, so that you can emotionally expand into deeper aspects, not so that they can keep you stuck there. It's for the expansion. And that's the ninth house. How do you think the full moon's gonna hit the 10th house?
So you guys gonna be emotionally reacting to your career status, your reputation, the way you guys seen by the world, and that's very important. Since you guys had the new moon in the fourth house, so you guys been dealing with trying to create harmony within the home, family, domestic issue. Because when these things get out of control, things cannot go well in the 10th house essentially. And when you guys have the moon there, the moon doesn't like to be there. It's debilitated. It's very constricted. It's dry, and then it's in Aries, so it's extremely angry about how I'm seen by the world. I gotta make sure I get my shit together. So that might be like a realization of where the home might be stopping you guys and things of that nature.
Absolutely. With the new moon having been in the fourth house, you're supposed to plant good seeds to bring balance to the home, bring balance and to how you obtain comfort in your life and just your home and domestic life too. Because of that, when you go by yourself, your internal processes. This is the type of energy where it's like your diary gets read, or something, what's going on in the home gets exposed out into the public, and maybe it's embarrassing, maybe it's something that you can handle, maybe it's starting to spark things that are a little bit too heavy. Maybe you're getting a reputation that you didn't desire to have, or you're forced to irrationally act, or boldly act on a reputation or on a responsibility because balance wasn't created in the home. So balance being created in the home is a huge focus of this Libra season, and now you're seeing the full moon effects of how it taxed on so much more responsibility. Maybe now you have to go and hide and go and do this, that, and the third. Um, for longer, when you could have just started the conversation so that a comfortable state could be assumed, so that an equilibrium could be assumed. But not doing that. Now there's so much responsibilities. Now there's things you have to uphold, and it may make you so rash and um, destructive. Maybe you can really emotionally respond, and then it's in the 10th house, so people aren't really looking for emotion in that area than in the Aries, so you may really start to look flunked out, but it's all because of what starts at home. Try and have a more fresh, positive, friendly perspective of your home life to really get through this full moon. So how do you think the full moon is hitting the 11th house?
So you guys gonna be emotionally reacting to your associate groups, and you guys had the new moon in the 5th house, so you guys obviously been balancing creating relationship around your creativity, a form of self-expression, because you guys don't want relationships to take you guys away from your self-expression, but also you guys need relationship that help further that self-expression. So that's what happened in the new moon, and then now you guys ready to do the groups that you guys developed based upon that sense of creativity that you guys want to bring into your social life, whether you guys gonna be angry or passionate. That's gonna be highly depending on who you guys associated with. So that's gonna make you get. That's gonna make you realize that the starting point is how you started to create relationship around your creativity, and then your emotional feeling is gonna be surround how you truly feel about your associates.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I feel like with planting bad seeds in the 5th house with the new moon in your in Libra in your 5th house, that yeah, based off of entertainment, you could be creating um, relationships that are about you know really entertaining, and yeah, creativity and expressing and putting on a show and a stage and things being fun um, and pleasant, but it could be very self-sacrificing too, because with your relationships too, because if things are supposed to be fun and things, maybe you need a little bit more support or more things about truth. So when things get more into an intellectual capacity with the 11th house, when we're talking about your social life, you know your individual may be getting neglected, and there's more self-sacrificing aspects that are being drawn out of your relationships, or as you are trying to emotionally respond to your desire for truth, for your desire to be intellectually minded and converse with people. It's more so on that fun entertainment type thing that your relationships are type of on, or where most of the balance comes from if you haven't been planting the right seeds. So plant the right seeds on um, having fun in the right ways, the best creative expression, so that when the full moon comes into your 11th house, now you have the associations that helps facilitate creativity, not take away from that, or not forcing you to be more logical with your emotions, because your relationships are all, they'll go too far in the feeling type thing. So you have to add, a whole bunch of intellectual aspects and really self-sacrifice your own level of fun, because you initiated relationships based off of the wrong concept of fun. And how do you think this is hitting the 12th house?
So you guys
It's
get
full moon.
you guys gonna be emotion reacting to your subconscious mind. You guys gonna be realizing the limitation of your subconscious mind, the suppression, karma, and get deep into what's going on there. And then what you find there is gonna be whether you're gonna be angry or passionate. But all that dependent on what you initiate when it comes to relationship, comes to your work, your not work, work health, detail, perfecting yourself, which all lead into you realizing what you truly passionate about comes to your dreams. You lose your imagination, and you don't want your relationship to move you away from the routine pattern that could set you up in the right path to get there eventually.
Absolutely. With the wrong seeds planted in the new moon, your relationships can really lead you to worry. They can really dominate your daily routines and habits, and your daily routine is catering to your relationships and partnerships, and giving out energy to other people in other places, that you never get to fulfill your dreams, or even get to creatively imagine or give your emotions into your creativity. So that builds up a whole lot of darkness and suppression, in just like what you were saying, in the 12th house area, where all of these influences are coming in behind the scenes that you may not be too aware of, because you're here focusing on catering to your relationships on a daily basis, and worrying about your partnerships on a daily basis, instead of really allowing yourself to imagine what things could be. And when you do, you with the full moon, it may play out negatively, where you're looking flunked out, or where you're too aggressive about your dreams and spirituality, or maybe it seems too rash or too abrupt, because you didn't give enough time into developing it, and incorporating that and grounding it down to earth, because you've been dealing with your relationships, because you've been dealing with what other people wanted instead of what you had wanted. So you really have to initiate your schedules with your relationships in mind, so that you can create enough space and time without obstructions for that creative expressions, and then the full moon wouldn't be so bad. Or that's how you can correct and pick up the pieces after, if the full moon had affected you in a negative way.
If you don't have your dreams, 12th house, and then your work, your routine, 6th house, well together, and then you guys gonna experience the eclipse in the first house and then the 7th house, and that's gonna mess you guys up, because the beginning of the first house is the 12th house. Who you are is like what's going on with your subconscious mind, and then your relationships. You can't have good relationship without pattern, work, health, which might lead to destruction and things of that nature. This eclipse season might be a wake up call too. But like, react now to what's going on with your 12th house, and then initiate correct relationships based on your 6th house.
Absolutely, that kind of sounds like depression, like if you're so working and worrying and stuff like that, with the 6th house type aspect, you can't creatively imagine, or if that aspect, what you're working on, is negative and bad. When you start to creatively imagine the future, it's nightmares, it's bad shit, it's like it's more worrying, and it's the worst case scenario, it's more nightmarish type stuff, which leads to depression, and anxiety leads to depression. That's how 6th house, 12th house can lead to Virgo, Pisces type.
And then remember, you guys have Pluto and Capricorn too, so that might lead to extreme form of anxiety, because it's gonna be squaring both of them.
But yeah, that's the full moon through all the houses. If you like the video, like and subscribe, support us. Our Instagram is Truspace underscore. Check out our website, truespace.biz. And thanks for watching. Peace out.
Thank you for watching.